What if I told you willpower is a scam? What if I told you motivation is the biggest lie in self improvement? That the reason you keep failing to break your bad habits has nothing to do with discipline and everything to do with identity. Now, be honest. How many times have you told yourself, that's it, I'm done, I'm quitting, this is bad, I'm quitting this for good? And yet, a few days later, you're right back where you started. Let me ask you this. Why do most people never break their bad habits? Why does change feel like a constant struggle? And what if I told you that breaking a bad habit is actually easy if you do it the right way? Stick with me because in this video I'm going to break down the easiest way to change any bad habit. Not the hardest, not the most complicated, the easiest. And if you think you don't have any bad habits, well, let's just say you might be lying to yourself. Now, before we get into this, I want you to drop a comment below. What's one bad habit you've been struggling with? And how about what is the worst advice you have ever heard about breaking bad habits? I want to hear your thoughts. I'll be replying to as many comments as I can. Now, let's dig into it. So, why is it so damn hard to quit a habit? It's not because you're weak. It's not because you lack willpower. It's because your brain isn't fighting against you. It's doing exactly what it's designed to do. You see, habits are not just things you do, they're shortcuts. Your brain loves efficiency. So once you repeat a habit enough times, it becomes into autopilot mode. Have you ever driven home without even thinking about the turns you took? That's a habit. Have you ever reached for your phone without even realizing it? That's a habit. Now, here's where most people go wrong. They try to fight a habit with sheer force. They tell themselves, I just need to be more disciplined. But have you ever noticed that willpower runs out? It's like holding your breath underwater. You can only fight for so long before your brain forces you to come up for air. So let me ask you, how many times have you tried to quit something only to go back into that moment that life got stressful? How many times have you blamed yourself for failing when in reality your brain was just following its programming? And if willpower isn't the answer, what is? That's where things get interesting. Here's the real secret to breaking a bad habit. Stop focusing on what you are doing and start focusing on who you are becoming. Let me explain. Most people say things like, I need to stop smoking, or I need to stop procrastinating, or I need to stop eating junk food. But every time you say that, you reinforce your identity as someone who still does those things. Your brain still sees you as a smoker, a procrastinator, as someone who struggles with food. And when you see yourself that way, the habit always wins. Now, here's the shift that you need to make. Instead of saying, I need to quit smoking, say, I am a non smoker. Instead of saying, I need to eat healthier, say, I am the kind of person who eats healthy food. One is a struggle, the other is a statement of identity. And you think, but isn't that just lying to yourself? I have a better question for you. Haven't you already been lying to yourself? You told yourself, I'm just not a morning person. You told yourself, I am not in self control. You told yourself, I will never be in shape. But here's the truth, your brain believes whatever story you tell it. So, what story have you been telling yourself? Now, if you think this is just self help talk, well, let's bring in the science. Neuroscientists have found that habits form through neuroplasticity. Your brain rewires itself based on repeated actions and beliefs. The more you reinforce a habit, the deeper it gets. But here's the good news, your brain is always changing. And this explains why some people can quit overnight. Like the guy who has a heart attack and instantly stops smoking, the woman who hits rock bottom and never drinks again. It's not because they suddenly got more disciplined, it's because their identity shifted. So here's the question you need to ask yourself. What identity are you holding on to that's keeping you stuck? I'm going to repeat the question. What identity are you holding on to that's keeping you stuck? Now, how do you put this into action? Forget string changes. Forget massive action. The easiest way to break a habit is to make success stupidly easy. Instead of saying, I'll work out every day, start with one push up. Instead of saying, I am quitting social media, start by putting your phone in another room for 5 minutes. Instead of saying, I'll read a book a week, start with 1 page a night. Sounds small? Well, that's the point. Because when something is easy, you actually do it. And when you do it, you start to believe in yourself. And once you prove it to yourself, it grows. That's 1 push-up turns into 10. That 1 page of reading turns into chapters. That 5-minute phone break turns into real productivity. It all starts with 1 small action. Now, before you leave this video, I want you to do 2 things. First, take action. Pick 1 bad habit you want to break free of and take 1 small step today. No excuses. Second, download the self-audit worksheet in the description below. It's a simple guide that will help you reflect on your bad habits and create a clear plan for change. And if you're serious about transforming your life, subscribe to this channel, because in every video I'm breaking down the real truth behind self-improvement, the stuff no one else is telling you. So hit that like button, subscribe, and comment below. What is 1 habit you're changing starting today? Let's make it real. Let's make it happen. And I'll see you in the next video.